John Knox residents. I am Ron Clement, President of the Resident Council, and as you probably know by now, we are no longer having meetings until this COVID-19 situation is over, but we are having monthly presentations by different John Knox associates about important things going on campus, and I will get to our speaker very momentarily. First of all, I have an announcement from Gail, Benne, who is the president of the John Knox Foundation, and I timed this. It takes me exactly 2 minutes. Okay. As you probably know, the John Knox Village Foundation is working on a $150,000 campaign to raise funds to purchase 2 new buses for the village. Quite frankly, the village simply does not have enough buses to meet the needs of the residents. The current fleet consists of 3 buses, 2 20-passenger 2-wheelchair buses, and 1 12-passenger 2-wheelchair bus. They are all 8 years old with high mileage between 100,000 and 150,000 miles. Until March of this year, when the COVID-19 restrictions began, the buses were used 7 days a week. First, on-campus shuttle service up to 14 hours a day. Second, bus service to area retail shopping destinations, grocery stores, banks, library, Monday through Friday. Third, transportation to and from medical appointments 2 days a week. And fourth, transportation to 5 area churches on the weekends. Last year, transportation services were provided to 1 or more groups of residents more than 99,000 times. The shuttle service averaged 175 pickups per day, and the grocery and medical bus averaged 75 rides per day. When one of the buses is removed from service for maintenance or repairs, which happens frequently, the remaining buses must pick up the slack, yielding disruptions in schedules. The buses purchased through the fundraising campaign will include 1 20-passenger 2-wheelchair bus and 1 12-passenger 2-wheelchair bus. Adding these buses will allow the village to continue offering a full schedule of transportation services even when 1 bus is out of service. They will also allow John Knox to offer residents more opportunities to enjoy outings to area attractions and special events. Please remember, even if you do not regularly ride the village buses now, you may need to do so sometime in the future. So far, the foundation has raised more than $80,000 of the $150,000. Please consider a gift to help your friends and neighbors get on the road again. For more information or to make a donation, call Gail Benne at 347-2384. Thank you. And now I'm pleased to introduce and present to you Marybeth Roberts, who is the Director of Sales, Marketing, and Communications here at John Knox. A lot of you know Marybeth and have heard her speak before. And she is going to tell us what's going on with sales, marketing, and communications, at least part of which has to do with their response to COVID-19. And so I turn it over to Marybeth, and thank you for being with us.
Well, thank you, Ron. It's nice to see you. I feel like I don't see the residents anymore, and we miss you all. I want to say that. So hello, everyone. I'm so glad to have a chance to say hello, even if it's virtually, and just to say hello, and that we can't wait to see you all in person, soon. So yes, things are different in sales, marketing, communications, like they are everywhere here in the village, and we have had to do some adapting and learning new things and changing, but isn't that what they say? Sometimes, problems and adversity brings about new, wonderful ways of doing things, and so I hope that is true for us. We definitely have been feeling that ourselves.
Sure.
So I think the first thing we've done is, we always start out our new fiscal year in April with a big open house.
Right.
And we do it on a weekend. We bring 250 people on the campus, and we take them on tours and show them all the great model homes. We have seminars, we feed them lots of goodies. They get a chance to see the activities and all the different things that we do, and that really helps jumpstart the marketing for our new fiscal year, and we weren't able to do that this year. So that was a real big challenge, and so we did some we kind of shut down in terms of real marketing for those first couple of months because nobody really wanted
Right.
to do anything. Everybody was frightened and
Right.
scared. We couldn't have gotten a person to come to visit the village or anything, but they were home. So we were able to get them on the phone. So our consultant team did a lot of phone calling, a lot of emailing, a lot of texting, and we started really working on virtual visits and talking to people virtually. And Steve Clark, I think you all know Steve
Yes.
Clark,
Yep.
he was wonderful. He started going out and doing model tour homes of all of our models so that we could send out to anybody. If somebody called and said, you know, I'm interested, I don't want to come out, which we knew they wouldn't want to, and quite frankly, we weren't really allowing people to come to the campus.
So he
But-
took a lot of photographs.
He went into every type of model home that we had set up. So a one-bedroom apartment, a great room apartment, our new villas. He even went and did assisted living, some of the new apartments over there, so that if people had a concern and wanted to see things, we could send it out to them, which was really great. He spent a lot of time and a lot of hours doing that. We bought some new equipment, so that was a benefit. We were able to get some new photography equipment.
Oh, yes.
So that we had kind of hoped that we could get someday. Well, we needed it immediately so that we
Absolutely.
could do some new and different things. We also worked with one of our outside vendors and had helped us with some drone footage. And we were able to work with them, and they did a beautiful video of the exterior of the campus. And if you haven't seen that, I'm going to tell you later how you can go online and see that.
Yep.
But it's a beautiful view, bird's eye view, literally, of the campus exterior. And so that's another thing we were able to use and send out to people so they could really come and see and visit the campus virtually. Well, and so we got really excited about doing a virtual open house because we thought, how can we share all of this great new information? We have all these virtual tours of model homes, we have this great new drone footage, and we just wanted to be able to get the message out to people and share the campus, but without them coming on campus to do that. So we came up with a virtual open house, and it's been live for about 5 weeks now, and you can all visit it if you haven't already by going on to our John Knox Village website, and it'll link you to the virtual open house. Some of the other things we have included in that open house is a message from Dan, a little introduction to all of the sales consultants, which is really cute and a nice way for people to get to know the team.
That's great.
There's also interviews with Maria Timberlake. She's talking about the new strategic initiatives going on in the campus and some of the new projects, which is really awesome. We also had an interview with Todd Hollander because, like I said, when people typically come to an open house, we get to feed them,
Yep.
right? And they love the food. So we had Todd come and talk about all the different things in the different restaurants because it's a really important piece for people when they
Absolutely.
move. What do you think? I mean, when you moved here, you wanted to try out all the restaurants,
Absolutely,
right, Ron?
yep.
So we did that. And then Natalie, our sales manager, did a really nice kind of nuts and bolts, the basics of John Knox Village seminar. And so that's on there too, as well as interviews with residents just like you, kind of giving testimonials about their experience here at John Knox Village. So really there's hours of wonderful, wonderful information. And to date, we've had more than 4,000 unique visitors
My
to the
goodness.
website.
Great.
And that takes out all of our addresses, because we've been on it a lot, but they take that out. But if you think about that, when we do a typical, open house, we see about 200, maybe 250 people on a really good event. We've had over 4,000 people visit the site, and the most watched has been Natalie's presentation about the nuts and bolts of the village and talking about what the village has to offer. So we know people are going in there and getting good information, good content, and really learning about the village, which is exactly what we wanted. We've had over 100 people fill out information cards. We've had over 20 actual people pick up the phone and call us for more information. So we know it's working. It's different, and like I said, we probably reached more people this way than we would have with a regular open house.
That could be, yeah. And obviously you've got a very good response, and I really am impressed. I think this whole thing is very typical of the way John Knox operates. I mean, this is something that has to be done just right. It's got to be very clear and very well organized, and obviously it is. And I'm pleased to see it.
Well, thanks. And we looked back at some of the videos and said, oh, we could have edited that a little bit differently, or maybe that one was too long. We'll learn.
Sure.
It's not perfect. And I've even sent it out to some people in the industry to say, what do you think? Give me some advice. And I think everybody has been very receptive that, you guys have gone out on a limb and really are doing something new and different. We think it's great.
Yep.
Yeah, you might change this a little bit here and there, but that's good, and we can continue to do that. So in the fact that people, even 5 weeks later, we still had, I think, over 400 visits this past week.
That's interesting.
So,
Wow.
it continues. It's declining
Sure,
now,
sure.
but we've been very, very pleased.
And the things you're talking about, even when we did them the old-fashioned way,
Right.
that works so well. Those kind of things are what really convinced my wife and I that this was the place for us. We had looked at a whole bunch of retirement places, and this was clearly the one for us. And there's just so much to do, and it was presented so well. And
Well, we appreciate that, and I think we've done them year over year over year. I've been here 20 years now. It's almost like clockwork doing our open houses. It's kind of like, oh, I show up, I do my thing, okay. But we had to really change our complete thinking
Right.
this year. But I think taking a lot of the things that we typically do and just putting them in a virtual format has really worked well. And we have such a good creative team too.
Sounds like
I mean, Steve has helped so much, Stephanie, everybody. Some of the consultants helped put some of the little videos together. It's really been a team effort, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But you mentioned, coming to some of the events. We do miss having our seminars and our kind of fun activities. And one of the things we're actually working on right now is a canvas and cocktails. Have you ever heard of that? It's where you actually you go someplace and you paint, and you have a cocktail or two.
Oh.
You have a little wine. There's little shops that are set up where you do a painted canvas, and it's kind of a family thing or a girl thing, and you go and do that. And so we're going to try to do one of those virtually, where we're going to use one of our John Knox Village associates, who's a wonderful painter, and they will actually teach the class virtually to our prospects, and we're going to send them little John Knox Village, I think, bottles of wine.
oh my goodness.
We're going to kind of signature bottle of wine
Sure.
for them to do that, and we'll do that together. So we are looking for all kinds of different ways. We'll see how it works.
Sure.
We've done some webinars with Brad Breeding. Brad is a senior living expert that we've had come here on campus, and now he's doing virtual seminars, so we've offered some of those.
Terrific.
And we've had about 20 people in attendance for things like that, so it's not as big a group. But that's the other thing we have found during this time. The people that are reaching out, that are trying to get information, are really interested. You're probably not getting the tire kickers as much.
Right.
And the people who want to just come and eat the wonderful food we have here at John Knox Village. It's the really serious people, and so that's not necessarily a bad thing right now.
Good. I miss the meals with the prospective residents. It's always good.
Well, and we miss that too, because you all are such great ambassadors
Okay.
and salespeople for the village that we haven't been able to use that. And so I've even mentioned to the consultants about, if you got some residents here that like talking to people, call them and ask them if it would be okay to visit virtually or email, or to call and talk to some of our prospects that we're working with. And we have thought about doing a virtual seminar where it's a resident panel that prospects would be able to virtually ask questions to.
Oh, yes.
So we're working on some
That's
ideas
great.
like
Oh,
that.
yes.
So gosh, I could go on and on. There's lots of ideas.
Oh, yeah,
once
and
again.
we've had the panels at the meals. My wife and I have been on them, and people can ask whatever they want, and they can get an answer from a resident or
Exactly.
from whatever. Okay.
The other things we've been really involved in is we've got a lot of new exciting things happening on campus. And I know last month, Eric Scott was your guest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Eric talked a lot about some of the new projects that are happening here at the campus or that we're working on. One being the new villas.
Right.
As well as the expansion of Meadows, where we're sitting here today.
Right.
So that's been a big focus and effort of marketing too. With the villa program, we built 5 new villas last year, and they are all sold and occupied. And so that's great. And so that program continues to work, and I think Eric probably showed you that down on Shamrock,
right.
we tore down 17 homes. They were all vacant, so they weren't bringing in any revenue. They were pretty much obsolete in terms of their use anymore to the village. It was obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
And we tore them down, and now we're building 7 new beautiful villas, 1,371 square feet each. And we have just started doing the construction or the digging and excavating in June, and we already have 3 deposits of the 7.
My goodness, yeah, they sell fast, I know that.
They do sell fast, and one of the things we had to figure out was how do we launch that? And so we did cookie drops.
Oh, goodness, okay.
And so what we did is the consultants all kind of looked through their files and said, who do we think has shown an interest? We had a kind of an interest list of people who said, I might be interested in one of those villas in a year or 2. And then we looked at their people in their file, and we kind of came up with about 50 or 60 people that were strong prospects, we felt. And we put together a packet of information. And then we went to a bakery, and we had these cute little house-shaped cookies that were decorated in ice like little homes.
Yeah.
And the consultants dropped them off at their door. They didn't go in, of
Didn't
course.
go in.
Didn't go
That's
in.
right.
But they called them and said, hey, we're going to come by. We have some exciting information we want to share. So we dropped the information off to them, and that's how we got the 3 deposits.
That's
so
great. Yeah.
We're pretty excited.
It's not like you're giving them a lot of food, but just a clever cookie with a message. The cookie just adds something nice. Yeah.
They were good too. I stole one. I have to say I did eat one.
Okay.
Yeah, they were good. They were yummy. But little things like that. And I think if you are bringing somebody something like a cookie, we've also done bread pudding drops. Mm-hmm. We did that early on and called some of our key clients and just wanted to visit.
Any chocolate cake?
Haven't done the chocolate cake, but that's maybe next month.
Okay.
But we've had to get creative because we want to try and tell people hi and just let them know we're thinking of them. And in the early days, those early first few months, it really wasn't about trying to sell. It was to stay connected.
Right.
It was to let them know we're here, and that if they have questions and anything we can do for them. But for us to try and be real salesy when things were so confusing and scary, it didn't make any sense. Now, in the last few months, things have picked up, and people are more interested, and we have found ways to allow people to come on campus and do a limited visit with all the special precautions, of course, wearing masks, checking temperatures, doing all of those things, limiting the number of people who can come.
Right.
We've created plexiglass screens so that the consultants, if they're having a meeting in their office, they have a plexiglass screen, and doing things like that, because we do have people who are wanting to deposit and wanting to move in, and so they have an immediate need, and we need to help them through that process, and so we're able to do that.
It sounds like all the things you've been doing have been a lot of fun. I realize there's a certain amount of stress, but you've got some good people involved and creative people.
We do. I have to say, everybody has stepped up. It has been fun, and quite frankly, people say, "Aren't you bored?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we have been so busy. I don't remember being this busy." And I think part of it's because we've challenged ourselves to think differently, to do things differently, and I think with the new projects going on, that has really added a lot too. The other big project is Meadows 2.
Right.
And we are full bore into Meadows 2. And so I know probably Eric talked a lot about that as well. We're adding on another building to Meadows East. We're adding 52 new apartments, They're 2-bedroom and 1-bedroom dens. So where
Okay.
the apartments we're adding are all a little bit larger. We're not doing any just 1-bedrooms.
Okay.
Because the demand has been for the larger
Yeah,
apartments.
I understand that.
We aren't going too large, but I think the largest is going to be about a little over 1,400 square feet.
That's big.
That's big. So the way we start and do this, because of the pre-planning and having to have these things go to financing and the special bond program and with the board and the investors, we have to do a pre-deposit program. So we started doing pre-deposits a little over 2 months ago. And basically the pre-deposit program is asking people for, basically put down $100 to say, yes, I am interested in seeing the floor plans and the pricing. I want to be one of the first people to choose a home on this new expansion. And so we started doing that, and that, again, is we had to get a little creative. Typically, we do a big event, bring everybody in, feed them, do a big presentation. So we ended up doing FedEx packages to our hottest prospects. So it was a little more special. It came in FedEx. We called and said, we've got a special message that we're getting ready to send to you. We'll, follow up and call. I will tell you, the very first day the packages hit, we had somebody walk into the office and drop off a check for $100 and said, I want to be the very first one.
Oh, I'll be darned.
And they're number one.
Yeah.
They are number one. And so we have to date 71 priority deposits for 452 apartments.
My goodness.
We know not all of them will end up choosing, but we feel very, very fortunate to already have 71 people who have raised their hands. And so we actually will start showing them actual floor plans and pricing in a week and a half. So we're going to start, the floor plans are complete now, and we're getting all of the pretty materials put together. So we'll have nice little final floor plans and a little brochure and everything to talk about the expansion. So I said we're busy. We are so busy with that.
That's moving along well.
It's moving along well. And we have been so pleased with how well it's going. I know I could talk for hours, so you tell me if I need to hurry up and...
8 minutes, good.
Okay, all right, super. So I think that what I am seeing during COVID for marketing and sales is that people who have been interested in the village and are long-term planners are still out there and very interested, and we are talking to them, and they are interested, in our new projects, our villa homes, our big homes that we're renovating right now. We've practically sold every existing home on the campus right now. The areas that we're not seeing that have been probably most impacted because of COVID are smaller apartments, our lease product, the people that may not be as big a planners, that may be a more immediate need. I think those folks are kind of still hunkering down and kind of waiting it out. And so, and I think, when you think about Meadows too, they're not going to be moving in for another 2 years, 18 months to 2 years.
That's
the COVID isn't as impacting them as much.
And I guess, let's see, Meadows 2, and I think all of the villas will be entrance fee only.
That is correct.
So you're growing the entrance fee, and the lease is kind of on hold a little bit.
The leases, we're getting some, but not to the level that we typically do and typically plan. So we think that once we hopefully get a vaccine and things calm down and people are able to kind of get back out and about, we'll start to see that business pick back up again.
Now, aside from aside from the entrance fees, what would you see as how are sales and so forth over the last couple of months compared to a similar period before COVID-19? Up, down, same?
Great question. Down.
Okay.
I would say lease is about 50%. We're only getting about 50% of the sales that we would typically get. The entry fee sales are actually, I would say, about 75 to 80%. So we're actually doing okay there. And the other nice thing is when we ended FY20 in March and started the new fiscal year, we had about 20 people pending move-ins that had already deposited that were expected to move in. I think all but 2, maybe 3 have moved in.
Well, good.
So that has really helped our first quarter.
Sure.
Because we got all those entry, and most of them were entry fees, I should say.
All right.
So we got those entry fee sales. Those people did go ahead and move in. Some of them may have waited a little bit and moved it out a little bit and didn't move in April. You know, April was pretty quiet. Pretty quiet, okay? Pretty quiet, and that's okay.
Okay.
But things started to pick up in May and
Yeah.
June, and so we did start to see things, and I know if you talk to Kim, and from a financial report, he's been very pleased with the way the entry
Good.
fee sales are going. So, and I think we're very encouraged by what we're seeing with the new construction and those new projects. Last month, we had 11 entry fee sales, new entry fee sales.
Wow.
Now, 3 of them were the new villas, but to have 8
Yeah.
entry fee sales is a fabulous month. So very, very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess this will be the last question, and
Sure.
then I'll have a little announcement to make. I'm pleased to hear, because I didn't know, I'm pleased to hear that not only can people put down deposits and whatever, they can actually move in. I was afraid there'd be a big restriction there for some reason.
We can, because that is part of us continuing to take care of somebody who has a specific need. We, of course, are doing that very carefully. We've put in all kinds of protocols for the move-in process. They have to be tested ahead of time before they move in, of
Right.
course,
Right.
and they're only allowed certain people to help them move in, especially if it's in an apartment building. If you're going into a home, it's not quite as restrictive because you're not dealing with, the other
Sure.
residents around them.
Sure, that makes
So
sense.
the move-in coordinators have had to kind of switch their thinking and put together some different protocols, and we work with our different moving companies and vans and all of those folks that help us, the downsizers, and everybody, they've just been great to work with. But it did take a little bit of time to get those things in place.
Yeah, it's a different world, but
Yes.
John Knox and you folks have come up with some excellent responses to what's going on.
Thanks. We love it. We love what we do, and
Yep.
we're so glad to have this challenge, and hopefully we're meeting it. I have one more thing I'd like to add.
Okay,
if I
go
could.
ahead.
Real quickly, I know we're out of time, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention the annual report. And if you got your new Village Voice, which I love this story
Oh,
and
yes.
cover. I think that's so awesome, seeing all the residents, in their careers. But inside of it is our new annual report. This does come from my other side, the communications team. And
Yep.
I know we were going to talk about sales and marketing, but I felt like I needed
Sure.
to give a little plug to
It's
communications.
very thorough,
And
easy to read.
they did a lovely job, and so this team, I have to say, with all of the communication they're doing on COVID, they are just, wow. I
Yep.
mean, they're working so closely with all of the different areas. I can't say enough wonderful words about them, so a big kudos to our communications team, sales team, marketing team. I am so pleased to work with such a great group of people, and I can't wait to see all of you again soon.
Great.
Ron,
Great.
thank you for having me.
And thank you for being here. It was a fun and very informative presentation, and I'm
Great.
glad you were here. And I just wanted to make one last announcement. Next month, we'll have Brian Opoka, who was Director of Public Safety. I know he has been on e-blast talking about different things about COVID. He will cover some of that. I'm hoping he'll also cover kind of the response from the not only the associates, but certainly the residents, because there have been some little drawbacks there that I think he will mention. But I think you'll find it interesting, and that'll be in October. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gosh, one more thing. We did a new TV commercial too. We did, and we actually changed it up a little bit because of COVID, because we wanted the message to be a little different. And so I will ask the team to add that on to the video.
Yes.
So everybody can see the new television commercial that is running as well. It
Good.
kind of focuses on our history and our dependability and what John Knox Village stands for these last 50 years.
That'll be interesting. Thank you.
Great.
Life at John Knox Village defies expectations. We're 50 years strong. Our experience runs deep and wide on acres of tree-lined streets. with more senior living options, amenities, and security than you'll find anywhere else. We're confident, no matter what tomorrow brings, we'll be here for decades to come, enriching lives and building community. Visit JKV 50 Strong to schedule a virtual tour or learn more.